So the next activity we are going to talk about is sports balls. And we're using different sports balls to represent different musical ideas or concepts of rhythm, beat, and meter. I've done this in multiple sorts of ways. I cannot take credit for this. I saw this on, like YouTube or something like that of this activity and just kind of, again, morphed it into my classroom and my situation. I did not purchase these sports balls. I've always collaborated with the PE coach or the PE teacher in my buildings, and they have been more than happy to let me use them in my classrooms. Now, obviously, we have very long discussions at the beginning of, like, is this a gymnasium? No. How are we going to use these sports balls in the music classroom, because we have very expensive instruments around and stuff like that. So I talk to the students with them about safety, things like that, when we get to use them in my classroom. It's very engaging. The students are so excited when they see them in my classroom, and it's a very concrete way to talk about an abstract concept, things like rhythm and beat and meter. And so you can do these, again, in multiple ways, keeping the beat, just bouncing the ball to the beat. You can clap a rhythm on your hands, and the students have to bounce the rhythm with the ball. That's a little bit more difficult, in my opinion. So I usually just stick to beat and meter in my classroom. And my PE coach had a variety of balls that she allowed me to use, but the things that I found most beneficial, because for young hands and just kind of eye-hand coordination and those motor skills of bouncing and catching, things like that. They're basketballs of all different colors, but they were like just the right size for elementary students. It didn't matter if we did this in 5th grade or kindergarten. It was kind of like the perfect sized basketball. It wasn't like a real size basketball, and it wasn't a small tennis ball. I have done it with tennis balls before, but it gets a little bit tricky because they're smaller and they're super bouncy and tend to go all over the place. So I kind of learned from that attempt and found these balls. Now, obviously, I collaborated with my PE coach to make sure that, one, I could use them in my classroom, and two, like, my PE coach wasn't using them soon. So it was like, hey, I'm planning to do this fun activity. Is it possible for me to borrow these basketballs for maybe 1 or 2 weeks if you're not using them? And it just became like this kind of, cross-curricular, PE and music, and kind of combining them to teach the musical concept of beat and meter, and sometimes rhythm if you choose to. So I have a video here that I want to explain before I show it to you. And it's basically, I think this was maybe 2nd or 3rd grade classroom. I've obviously blurred out the screen because student faces are in the video, but I wanted to show you. You can see the different colored balls around the classroom. The activity was they had to listen to me playing the piano, and I'm being very exaggerated in my playing of the downbeat or the strong beat as opposed to the weak beat, so that they can very intentionally listening and counting the meter in which I was playing. And so then what they had to do was take that, and for every strong beat I played, they had to bounce it on the ground. And for every weak beat, they had to do some sort of motion to represent the weak beat. But remember, the strong beat's only on beat 1, which helps determine the meter itself, as you are aware probably. And so you'll see I ask the students to listen first, and once they kind of figure out what the meter is, then they can bounce the balls. And it's just a super fun, engaging. The kids love it. For the most part, it's a very safe activity because I've had this talk, and we've practiced before about what it's like to have a basketball in a music classroom as opposed to a gymnasium and things like that. So I hope you enjoy this activity. Again, it's free. It just required some collaboration with the PE coach to make something like this happen, and the kids loved it. Enjoy. Thank you. All right, tell me what meter I'm in. Okay, don't bounce it, just tell me. Guys are so smart. Thank you. 2 hands. Okay. All right. Well, what meter am I in now? Listening first, don't bounce.
4.
Count it. Count it. I didn't say bounce it. Bounce. Nice, not too bad. All right, let's do one more. Ready?
3.
Count, count, bounce. Thank you. Okay, all right, so here's your challenge for today. You know how to do meter of 2, you know what it sounds like, you know what it feels like. You know how to do meter of 3, meter of 4. I'm gonna keep playing throughout the whole time. I'm gonna change meters though. So you have to have excellent listening ears, okay? Because when the meter changes, it's gonna feel really, really weird, okay? Bless you, twice, whoever that is, no worries. Okay, it's gonna feel really weird. So when you hear the meter change, I need you to stop bouncing, listen, refocus your mind onto the new meter, and then bounce, okay? Got it? But I'm not gonna stop until you hear the stop signal, this one. You keep going, got it? There's no talking, no even counting. This is all inside your head, okay? All right, we're listening and we're feeling the meter. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Listening first.